John, sometimes the internet doesn't like cooperating, but we whipped it into shape. How are you?
I'm all right. It's the country I'm a little bit worried about, Jason.
Yeah.
I thought it was important since I don't think the current president is capable of doing a State of the Union at the moment. He's taken, what, 10 days off to go to Camp David to
Isn't
practice
that
for a debate.
unbelievable?
Yeah. So I figure while he's out at Camp David, maybe it would be helpful for us to take stock and take a look at where we're at, as adults, and just sort of look at, what's the situation? Where are we? Are we happy with where we are? We the people kind of a thing, right? We the people. Are we the people feeling good about the way things are going? And
I
so
say
that's kind
no.
of we're going to take a look at the evidence in the show and see what we've got. We've got some incredible video clips queued up for the patrons. So for those of you who sponsor the show, you know that after we do this 25-minute show on YouTube, we go over and we spend an hour, hour and a half or so with our patrons. And that's where we can run video clips and things somewhat freely because it's, kind of a pay-per-view thing, I guess. I don't know, $5 a month. What is that? We do a
Well,
show
the,
every
the
week.
truth
So
is, we should be able to do these things on YouTube as well. It's technically fair use. And Larry Klayman used to always go nuts because, from a legal standpoint, yeah, you can do it. But YouTube is like a private club and they control, their own rules. And it just opens the door for a bunch of schmucks to basically issue copyright strikes and other things on our YouTube channels. So it's just so much easier. And also, it gives that benefit to the people who want to support this show. We can't carry on doing the show without the sponsors who generously support us on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen, patreon.com/IamJohnCullen, and odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and subscribestar.com and patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth.
it is an incredible privilege to get to do this type of work and have a good number of people supporting you doing this. And if it wasn't for you guys that support us, there's no way I could do this. I'd be working at Jiffy Lube or something like that. So
Be
you
at a
laugh
gun
at
range or something like that.
I don't know. I'd probably be at Jiffy Lube. All right, so I've got such an incredible amount of content to share. We kind of have to go through it at a fast clip. So we're going to go bop, 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 very, very quick. And for the audience, you guys, if you're not patrons, again, you're kind of just going to get the tip of the iceberg here. When we get to the patron only hour, you guys are going to be blown away. So let me race through this deck that I sent you, Jason, and we'll just fly through that. And then when we get to the patron only portion, they're going to get to see all the the really exciting stuff. So I'm really excited about this book that I've been working on, which has really taken a new turn. The book will be coming out soon. Looking forward to meeting with all the various publishers. But this is the new book, You Lying Sons of Bitches, and it's a coming of age story. This is the story of a young congressperson who joins Congress, and it's told in the voice of that young congressperson who realizes that everybody in the Senate is lying.
What about the House?
And that too. And they came there and they're like, but I thought I was, here to kind of change things and we were going to vote on this and have some new laws, and, came in with this naivete and realizes that it's graft after graft and cover up after cover up, to the point that you start to wonder what the hell is going on here. And that's where we're headed tonight, is what the hell is going on here. Because it's having a little bit too much of a Truman Show feel to it. If you've seen the film The Truman Show, I think it's very prophetic. So why don't we hop ahead to this next slide? Recently on Twitter, I just hit 35,000 followers. This is Red Bull Stadium in Salzburg, Austria. It holds less than that. So I thank each and every one of you for following me on Twitter. I'm incredibly grateful. And despite the fact that I've got 35,000 followers on Twitter now,
Congratulations.
yeah, I guess so. They didn't send me a fruit basket or anything like that. But despite that, and despite the type of content that you guys are going to see, I'm going to check with Jason in a minute. We're going to see if I might be able to show you something here. But the next slide is a mind blower. All right, this is a place in France that I'm pretty sure that nobody has ever heard of. And when we go to the patron only hour, I'm going to explain to you why this place in France is so important, why it's maybe the most important town in France or Europe that you've never heard of, and how the hell did I find this crazy little town in France, and why are we talking about it?
Somebody must have heard of it. It looks like they've got apartments right there.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's French people that have heard of it, but if you live in New Jersey, I don't think you heard of this place.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a look at it and see if we can understand what is the story behind this thing. Why is it so important? The name of the town is Mont de Marsan, MONT-DE-MARSAN.
Where's the mountain?
I guess it's around to the left side or something.
It's in the back.
Well, yeah,
Don't worry about that.
Well, so you go up there.
It's around the corner.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to take a look at this town in France, and we're going to say, well, why is this so important? Why are we talking about that? And we'll come back to that in a little bit. But it comes to this method that we've talked about before. We've talked about deductive reasoning and inductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is where you say, I heard they were working on bird flu in Atlanta, Georgia. So let's go see some evidence and see if we can find evidence to prove that it came from Atlanta, Georgia. I don't do that. I do it the other way. The opposite way is I just look at stuff until it becomes obvious what's going on. And then I go, what's this place in France? What's going on over there?
That's how you find it.
And that's how you find it.
You're like a COVID travel agent.
Well, think of it as just pathogens in general, right? I think it's a little bit more broad. It's like, don't limit me just to cruise ships.
Sorry.
Right? That's just norovirus. There's so many opportunities. Yeah. So what I did was I took the map, and this is what we're going to show the patrons. Maybe you guys on YouTube, I don't know if we're going to have time for it. But what I did was I took the map from Citirap that maps avian influenza specimens around the world, and I think I may have found, I don't know, a secret little place that maybe Dr. Fauci likes to go for brie. We'll find out. It's in France. We'll find out. So we'll take another look. But let's get back to the State of the Union on the next slide. I wanted to, it's sort of an embarrassment how the government is spending money. $3.8 trillion in 2014, another $4 trillion in 2017, then in 2018, $4 trillion, and then 2023, $6 trillion. What the hell happened in 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022? Why we just... Is this another magic trick?
This is perplexity, right? Why is it not giving... What happened to... Yeah.
Right. So is this another magic trick where at arm's length, it's like, all right, so give or take, we spend anywhere from 4 to 6 trillion, 4.5, 6 trillion. We're missing 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022 are all missing. All right. So if we go to the next slide, I said, yo, genie in a bottle. What did you spend in 2019? And I said, oh, okay, well, here's how much we spent, 3.8 trillion. So it comes back with the numbers, all right? I just started saying, all right, so wait a second. If right now you got Joe Biden, you got President Trump. We know that in 4 years, neither of them can run for president, right?
True.
All right, so neither of them can run. So Bobby Kennedy, they won't even let him on the stage at CNN. right? The Democratic Party wouldn't let him in to debate the concept, right? This is, Tulsi Gabbard quit for the
What do
same
you
kind
think
of
that
reason.
means? They obviously think it'll hurt Biden.
I don't know. Different people say different things, so we'll come back to that. We're going to come back to Bobby in a second. But I was thinking, gee whiz, you look at the government, how much money we spend, what we spend money on. It's kind of insane. One of the things we're going to break down tonight, one of the things I asked the AI, what are the biggest departments or agencies in the government? How many people work there? And how much money are we spending? Right? Because the government is the biggest employer in the country. I don't know, maybe you can pull up Perplexity real quick and see if Perplexity will tell you what is the total number of employees in the U.S. government, people that work for the U.S. government on the U.S. government payroll. It's going to be a big number.
Looks just like ChatGPT. So just say, what's the total number?
Yeah, just ask it the question. What is the total number of employees for the United States government? And then you can do a follow-up question and say, is it true that it is the largest employer in the United States?
It's going up. Well, wages and salaries. What is the total number?
Right.
The total number of U.S. government employees, including federal, state, and local levels, is approximately 23.7 million.
23.7 million people. That includes state and local.
This is like 8% of the population is working for the government.
Yeah, it's crazy. So now our follow-up question is going to be federal employees. Federal employees. So we're narrowing down our large language model thing and saying, okay, big shot. Yeah. Here's
2.95 million.
All right, so there we go. All right, so there's 3 million
Still a
people.
lot.
Are you kidding me? 3 million people work for the government, just for the federal government. So here's the thing. I'm looking at this whole thing. I'm just like, we are so far from the Constitution. It's like, has anybody been like checking base with the Constitution? Like, is that anything they do in the Senate or the House? Do they do that at all?
No, they hate it. They're trying to destroy it.
Yeah, well, that's going to stop right here, right now. We're done with that. All right, so here's the thing. We look at stuff like the National Firearms Act that came out of the Al Capone Valentine's Day Massacre. What was it, 1931, 1934? And they said, oh, yeah. These weapons are scary. We can't have these. You're going to have to pay a tax. It's almost 100 years ago, and the tax is the same. Okay,
is it a percent or something? What is
it's $200. No, it's $200 for a silencer.
So that was a lot when they did it back in the day.
In 1931, if you wanted a silencer, it's $200 tax. Yeah, it was insane.
How much was a Cadillac?
Even back in the 70s. Back in the 70s. It's like, come on, who the hell's going to spend $200 to get a silencer? It was insane. Now, today, you can get a pretty nice silencer for $800, $850, and a really nice silencer for $1,000. So a $200 tax, you bite the bullet, you get the damn thing.
Look at this.
But
the original list price for 1931 Cadillac with options was around $3,452, and that was with a V12.
$200 is a huge amount of money back then, just a tremendous amount of money. So these laws haven't been updated or changed. And then you look at this National Firearms Act and you say to yourself, wait a second. Yeah, that's Al Capone probably like that one.
That's a Cadillac. That's awesome.
Yeah. So you say to yourself, I thought that the Bill of Rights said you're not supposed to pass any laws that infringe the bearing of the arms with the... So what's this thing with this says the 16 inches and you can't have this? Isn't that infringing on the thing? It's like, is anybody checking? Nobody's checking. Nobody's checking these laws, and these old crappy laws don't make any sense anymore. So imagine if, in fact, one of the candidates said, not only are we going to stop the income tax, but since it seems like the Treasury is pretty good at printing money and shipping it all over the world, What if we gave each household in America $100,000 in cash as a rebate to say, you've been paying taxes as a household? We're good. Because I'm going to fire the 3 million people that work here. If you can't run the FDA with 50 people, you get the wrong 50 people.
Hang on, John. Jane Doe raises an excellent point. It's the contractors to the U.S. government that have become a huge problem.
So that'll stop. So in other words, I'm looking at what will these platforms be in 4 years. Now, the challenge in 4 years is there's going to be an election in November 2028. The inauguration, where you put your hand on the Bible and you say, yeah, and you swear in, and some losers sign, I guess it's a chief justice or somebody signs you in, right? And you get sworn in. And you got less than 90 days before Apophis arrives.
Oh, right. I forgot about that.
I hear audio coming from somewhere.
Really?
One of those tabs. Yeah, one of the tabs.
I'm not hearing it.
Okay. So the challenge here is the next president. So whoever now, right, we got Biden and we got Trump running against each other, maybe Bobby, right, and maybe, who knows, Gavin Newsom shows up and, he gets to run instead of Joe.
They're saying he's going to fire Kamala and put in Hillary, and then maybe he'll slip on a banana peel or something, or go to Arkansas.
Or Michelle, or Gavin and Michelle. Who the hell knows what ends up happening? Point is, it won't be Trump 4 years from now. Right? He's either going to win, or he ain't going to. No, Ivanka's out of politics. She got scared out of politics.
And Eric is vice president. That would make people go crazy.
All right. If you were to drop the income tax entirely, no more federal income tax.
I like it.
All right. So that's number one. All right. So that means you just got a lot of votes just with that. If you drop the federal income tax and say, we're going to get rid of the IRS is like a game. What is this? A test? I do my taxes, and then you guys go, no, I'm sorry, that's not right. No, you got this wrong. You got this wrong. So what are you grading my test for? Then you do it.
Yeah, that would be better.
Why are you grading my test? And saying, well, no, that's not okay. No. I just used TurboTax. Why is this a test? If you know how much it is, tell me
right
what it is.
Why don't they just send you a bill and say, if you don't disagree with this, just pay it?
So here's what we're going to do. In 4 years, hypothetically speaking, if I were the candidate, we don't need what the hell do we need the IRS for if we're not going to have federal income tax? We don't need them. They're done. Okay? They're done. They're out. They're done. They're over. We have 3 million people working in the government. We owe $40 trillion. I mean, dude, it's insane. We spend $4 trillion a year. We owe 10 years of spend to China and Japan. We're going to look at that later. Who do we owe it to? We owe it to China and Japan. Japan has held a tremendous amount of our debt, and a lot of people don't understand that. All right, let's hop ahead to this next slide because we've only got a minute or two left, and I want people to understand what's happening. We could, for a mere $15 trillion, which is about what we spent going through COVID, we could send every family in the United States $100,000.
People would start businesses, pay off their mortgages, buy houses, send people to college, have kids.
I don't know, but I'm sure, people would be pretty chill about them. Everybody would be like, wow, that's pretty cool. And the idea here, it's a rebate.
But shouldn't they just pay the debt? We have this incredible debt that's having interest and everything.
Dude, when there's only 50 people working at the FDA, instead of, when you see these numbers, you're going to fall out of your chair. When you see how much money the government could save, it's ridiculous. It's insane.
You fire everybody who works in every park in New York City and 75% of the cops.
I'm talking about federal stuff. So right now I'm just talking federal spend. The state and city and local is obviously a disaster, but we have to fix it from the top. If we fix it from the top, hopefully, again, people already come on, San Francisco's a disaster. Yeah, nobody wants to live there anymore. So this is H5N1. All right, everybody's worried about this. There are 4 cases in the United States this year so far, 4 in human beings. So there's a lot of chit chat about cattle, about chickens, about you name it.
Bill Gates wants to track the cows.
Good idea. Great. Let him do that. I think he should go live with the cows. There's 4 cases in human beings in the United States, and nobody has died. There have been 8 cases in the world this year. So in 2024, there have been 8 cases. 1 person died in Vietnam.
But aren't they talking about a vaccine for it already?
We ordered 4.8 million doses.
Yeah, you talked about it. Right.
Yeah, of course. But I'm looking at the strains, and I'm wondering, all right, which strain are you really worried about? Why are you worried about it if we got 4 cases? Let's get specific. Let's hold their feet to the fire. Let's ask the tough questions. What did Larry Ellison teach us? Challenge the experts.
Did he?
You're concerned? Yeah, that's what Larry Ellison says in the First Principles video.
Really?
Challenge experts, of course. When they say, well, H5N1, H5, okay, which strain? Which strain you really worried about here? 2.3.3.4? 3.1.2.1? Which one? Why? Why are you so worried? Worried about the cows? If we got 4 cases in people, it doesn't seem to be going from the cows to the people, Sherlock. Okay, right? We got 4 cases. Does this remind you of something from 4 years ago when we had
it's exactly the same.
4 people dead in Hong Kong and 7 in Shanghai, and I'm screaming from the rafters, and they're just carrying on like it's the Truman Show. And you're like, but dude, there's not 10 people dead in Shanghai. Right now, there haven't been 10 cases of H5N1 this year. 1 lady died. There haven't been 5 cases in the United States. These are the facts. Now, I'm not saying it's not a deadly virus. You don't want to get it. It's nasty as hell. But if there's only 8 cases on Earth, the chances of you getting it, dude, you got a better chance of ending up in the hot tub tonight with Tyra Banks and Naomi Campbell together. I mean, it just ain't going to happen. Maybe. Well, knowing you,
probably get an ashtray.
Knowing you, it might. All right, so this is China. These are influenza specimens in China. You thought 2019 and 2020 was bad. Dude, this is this is off the charts. This is something that nobody's talking about.
Whoa. So wait a minute. So 2019 and 2020, this is where we had all those articles that were saying, oh, this is the biggest avian influenza outbreak ever. And then now we have these that are 3 times bigger.
Right. And the avian influenza back then was H7N9, right? We looked at that CNN video. We're going to look at that again tonight with the patrons. We're going to have to leave in just a second here. We got to go to the patron-only portion. But what we're going to be looking at tonight are the biggest cities in the United States, the biggest cities in China. So the State of the Union, the state of the United States versus the state of China, comparing Cincinnati and Philadelphia, right, to Shanghai and Beijing. And we're going to look at them and we're going to say, how are we doing here? All right, so we'll be back with our patrons in just 5 minutes.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Stay with us. We will be right back. Join us. If you're not yet a sponsor on subscribestar.com/IamJohnCullen or patreon.com/IamJohnCullen. People can sponsor John there. Lots of great content on Subscribestar and Patreon. Don't forget to visit odyssey.com/@crowdsourcethetruth, crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com, and Subscribestar and Patreon /crowdsourcethetruth.